really quick, and we'll jump in to have everything kind of ready to go. Thank you guys for taking the time out to come out here. Appreciate it a ton. We got a train going by right now too, which is lots of fun. Welcome to the country, folks. We just want to take a minute and say, Alex, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and grace us with your presence, but also share all of your insight and knowledge.
A little intimidating.
Yeah, that's right. I think I can speak for all of us today saying that there's few people, when you think about luxury here in this area of the GTA, there's not many people that come to mind that have done anywhere near what Alex has done over the course of her career. So obviously you guys know there's been a recent partnership with her and Regan team as well. And yeah, so really appreciate you being here today. We're honored. We're excited. Can't wait to hear some of your wisdom. And thank you. Appreciate it. Awesome. Microphone's coming right now.
Yeah.
Beauty. Sounds good. Here you go.
Oh, don't have this. Isn't that enough?
Yeah. If you feel like you can talk loud enough, that's great. Yeah. Can you turn music off?
Loud. You'll hear me if you can't.
Perfect. Even easier. Yeah, that makes it easier. That's great. All right. Broke a microphone, folks. We're off to a good start. All right. So, yeah, make sure your guys' phone's off. We're going to turn the music off here. To kick things off, Alex, one of the biggest questions I had right off the bat, something you've been so good at doing is doing a really good job curating business that nobody ever finds out about. It's one thing for me to be able to go on the MLS and see transactions that are happening. I think it's a whole other thing to speak to what you've been able to build in terms of just relationships off market. How have you done that over the years?
So that's a little scary because if I'm really doing it well, you shouldn't know that. So I don't know. It's really about just understanding the market and following what's happening and following who's out there and who's looking for what. And I've always looked at real estate as it's more of a consultation than a listing process. So I may talk to people 2, 3, 4 years out in preparation for the day that they eventually decide to sell. And the one thing that high net worth individuals or large luxury properties have is, as beautiful, as magnificent as they are, they're not liquid. You can't move them quickly. So it's never about when they want to sell it. It's about when they can. So I always plant that seed that you may want to live here for another 10 years, but when you're ready to sell, this house may not be ready to sell. It's not uncommon for a luxury high-end property to sit for years. So in that case, what you're doing is you're consulting and prepping people for the day that you're going to come with a potential buyer. And so they're already expecting that call at some point. And I make it very clear, I'm not out there shopping you. I don't really want to wear it for 5 years if it's not on MLS.
Right.
I can't sell it.
Right.
That's just a waste of my time. But when that opportunity comes, is it okay if I call you and tell you? And I'm about to list, I think it'll be up in the next 2 weeks, a $39 million property. But I've been talking to them for many, many years.
Sure.
So it wasn't really ever about getting the listing. It was like, what does it look like? When's it going to happen? Could they stay there a few more years? They could. But you know what? We got to start now because that property might sell quickly and it might take years. And it's really about, usually people who sell those type of properties, unless it's a distress sale, they often don't have to get rid of it at any specific day. They have the time and luxury to pick when they want to go. So, they have options, right? So if you get it up when you have a buyer, you might get it done. You put it on MLS, you might sit for years. And that's never in the best interest. So if you position it with clients that I'm going to come to you when I hear of that buyer, and if you're open to that, then we look at doing that deal. Because if we have to go the traditional route on MLS, you've got to be prepared for a long journey. So most people like that. And they understand that a long journey means less money.
Well, to echo off that, when you're sitting down across from someone and maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 years out, what is it that you're saying to them to say, yes, Alex Irish is my person. I'm going to park my trust in her. And how is it you're kind of getting that barrier just for them to say, you are a clear choice whenever that time does come, and we're looking forward to working with you? What is it you're doing to set yourself apart?
So I think it's how I got there in the beginning. It's really about integrity and ethics and good reputation and visibility, so that when they invite you in to talk to them, they sort of already know who you are. So I'm not doing a big sell. When I go in and it's a consult, I'm not doing my marketing pitch. I'm not showing them the strategy. I will talk very high level generally about what we do. But that's, I always say, we'll get into the nitty gritty when it's time to list. Because if it's 2 or 3 years out, I might be doing something totally different. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to lock into things that I may or may not be doing 2 years from now. So it's more about going in and getting them to believe and trust me. And that's where I put my effort, right? And that comes with a good reputation and being extremely knowledgeable in your craft and what you do. There isn't a day that I don't read or learn something. Every day is a school day, right? So you get up and you read an article, you know what's in the news, you read your REM newsletter, whatever it is, but you're doing things every single day so that you can speak knowledgeably. Because you got to remember, when you're looking at in the luxury sphere, a lot of these people have a lot of consultants. They have a lot of other people in their lives, financial advisors, wealth managers. And so they're getting information from a lot of places. So they expect you to be at that level. They don't need someone to come in and tell them that the house is pretty. That really, everybody can do that. And there's thousands of us, right? So how are you going to differentiate yourself? You're going to come across as the person that's genuinely interested in doing the best thing for them and getting them the best value. And usually those honest connections keep you in the door. Lock them in? No, I never lock them in. Like, I know you should. Yeah, by BRO and all that. Yeah, no, not me. Not going to happen, because that actually goes against the trust factor that I'm trying to build.
Speaking about your thirst for education, learning, what does a week in the life for Alex Irish look like?
Who the hell knows? Like I wish I knew. It might be a little easier to live that life. No, it's just that's the whole point. Like, I don't know. I don't plan. I'm not fixed. I'm not flexible. Like, I've gone a million things I could be doing. So if something falls through, I definitely have things to fill it with. But I try not to get too fixed in other than like the actual day-to-day business of selling real estate, right? So like I have my listing appointments, I know my schedules, but you know what? If I have a light week, I'll go to a lot of open houses. If I don't have a light week, I don't go to any open houses. Like, I try not to make it so that I have no room to do what I need to do. Because if a client calls me, we had a client event the other night and I came out of there with 10 pieces of business. Like, if I was filled this week, I lose most of that business. So you have to be able to be fluid, right? You move but never be stagnant. You always have things in the background you could be doing and you could be working on.
I actually want to talk on that. So you're saying you want to almost have a little bit of flex so that you can always do kind of the 80-20 principle of real estate, which we all know, which very few of us do on a consistent basis. What does the admin support of your team look like to be able to help you buy back your time? Yeah. And for a lot of us in this room, maybe you could just talk a little bit about maybe the 2 to 3 departments that you've built that have been the most helpful. And if you have to do it over again, what are the maybe 1 or 2 people or departments you'd put the most emphasis on and give yourself that flex to learn and actually just be a better professional?
So until I partnered with Matthew, I had 0 departments and 0 admin.
So cool.
Yeah. I have licensed assistants who practice under me. They do not sell their own real estate. They do a family member, a kid buys or something, but they're not practicing. Their day-to-day operations are looking after my clients. So we work on a client as a group. And my assistants take care of the admin for the listing. They take care of the database. They did everything. And we were just fine. And the number of assistants I have is dependent on how busy we are. So I have had as many as 6 assistants working under me. And I've had, right now I'm at 4. And one of the reasons I'm down a little bit is not business or market. We're actually busier than usual. Oh, just saw a friendly face. One of the big things is that partnering with Matthew, he was the polar opposite. So Matthew is the master of systems and admin, and he brought all of that into my life. So we actually have a COO, someone who runs the operations, day-to-day stuff. So Matthew and I don't get in the weeds on contracts and ordering and contracts and firing people and all of that, or hiring, although we like to hire. We have a general admin person who oversees, Escarpment's a wonderful practice, so they do a lot of the admin for us. They're very tech savvy. They do a lot of the stuff that an individual agent will be doing on their own. so that we don't need to do that. But we have someone who oversees all the agents' listings and his support staff, essentially like an assistant to the agents. And then I have my assistants, and our top agents have an assistant that's assigned to them, so that they have an individual support. But that's it. That's it.
So to me, that kind of sounds almost like a law firm a little bit when you're running. You're the main lawyer and you have all the kind of junior associates under you and you get the leverage. And now knowing and partnering with Matthew now, which obviously has been
Who are you? I thought I wouldn't know anyone here. I'm looking around going, oh my God, I know all of you.
It's so cool. Well, what I was going to say there is now partnering with Matthew. If you had to do everything all over again, would you still done it the way in traditional way that you've done it?
Yeah.
And you think you would have done a little bit more systematized now?
No, I still do what I did. Cool. I still do, and I am who I am. And Matthew bends to me a little, and I bend a little to him. I use the support staff he has because it has allowed me to take pressure off the assistants. My senior assistant's been with me for 15 years, 16 years.
Wow.
Like I've only ever had her, right? And like she's been almost like having a partner. So I look to give her space, give her time off. So, if I have a minute that can take things away from her, she doesn't have to do a lot of that stuff anymore. We are very blessed. Matthew's very organized and very systemic, so he's got a lot of systems in place. We have in-house our own marketing team, and lots of options for people to do things. But we have a much bigger group outside the office, so we use a lot of virtual assistants. We have a lot of people on retainer contracts for specific needs. If I need a graphic designer, I have it. If I need a copywriter, I have it. If we're doing a newsletter or sending out something, we have SEO support. We have, professional search engine stuff, but we also have web designers, people who can build platforms, apps. And the biggest thing Matthew had when I joined with him is he has his own artificial intelligence company. So we do all of our marketing through AI.
We did.
So when you have those type of resources, you sort of have everything you need, and internally we're a tight group, but externally we have a lot of bodies.
So question I've got for you, Alex Irish is 25 years old today. Okay. So we're going to take 10 years off your life. All right. Yeah. And you're 25 today. What is it that you would do first if you wanted to venture further into luxury for everybody listening?
Nothing that I didn't do. I just really learned, people would ask me, how did you get into luxury? And I'd say, how did you get into Glen Abbey? Because in Oakville, like the suburbs sell fast.
Sure.
Luxury, you have to be there and be committed for years. And, my bread and butter is still little listings. So I'm not too proud to take an $899 condo because I like that. I like that a lot more than luxury some days because It's quick, it's new, it's fresh, people are happy. I used to say if I listed a house in one of the suburbs, I could figure out the price to the dime because there were always lots of comps, similar homes. You could do the pluses and minuses on it. You would list it on one day. You would do the open house. You'd list it on Thursday, do open houses on the weekend. Monday's agent open house, take offers Monday or Tuesday, and then they send you flyers because you got it right. It's so easy to look really good in that environment. And it's much harder to do that when you have listings that are going to carry on for months and people don't show up for appointments and people aren't qualified and people try to sneak in and use the bathroom and a lot. You go on with that for a couple of years and a listing can have challenges. So I love being in both things. But I heard a very wise realtor once say, and he's in the room, but I remember you saying this, it's our bread and butter. Like we stick with, we do the small listings because that's what keeps us moving. And the other stuff is wonderful and we appreciate the opportunity, but it's not exclusive to what we do.
Yeah. And one thing that you said there, which I think a lot of us can resonate with, is when we're comping out a house, when there's 3 homes that have recently sold that all comparable, there's no real unreal expectations from the seller. It's pretty clear 1 + 1 = 2. But when you are comping out something that's special piece unique, something even like this, what are you doing when you're sitting down with clients, better helping them understand and maybe even setting expectations? Because it really is sometimes so tricky to get that pricing right. And like you just highlighted, sometimes relationships can be 3 months, 4 months, maybe even a year. So what are you doing around the conversation around how we should list it and when we maybe should revisit it and see how their expectations are?
Yeah, I think it's always just straight out honesty, right? Like it's just really the gut. I can do tough conversations. Like,
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can.
We can, yeah.
No, what we do is you just tell them what your dilemma is. I have a hard time pricing this because it's unique, but because it's not new, because it's, it's too specific a house for a big target audience. And I explain the dilemma and ask them to take that journey with me and how do we go through this? And we'll do a lot of discussion around it. And they'll tell me about the resale, the replacement. They'll tell me about replacement costs. And then I have to say, but we're not going to get that because at the end of the day, people can buy their own land and build their own house, right? So it's really just about, again, honesty, knowing the cost of things, knowing the comps, knowing what's sold on the market, off the market, knowing who's looking, knowing what the odds are you're going to be able to sell that. And we talk about a journey and, what's your journey look like? I say, let's pick your journey. Are we trying to sell this fast because you want to move on with your life? And let's have this conversation. And if you're telling me you're only going to go if you can do this because you need this, then we have that conversation. But that conversation is very different than the one, like, that old saying, or am I here to list your house or am I here to sell your house? And I'm not saying that all of mine are priced accurately because there are times my clients are very clear. But if they are open to me telling them, I never take a listing and don't tell them I'm not going to get it. Because that's just setting myself up for very difficult conversations and for failure down the line. But I will always take a listing if they understand the complications and the difficulty and they're willing to work with me to find that right price.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Are there red flags for you where you will walk away from working with certain clients?
Yeah.
And maybe what are those triggers to specify them, maybe in categories?
It's integrity. If I don't feel I'm getting the whole story,
right,
my guard is up. I'm not going to be. I don't want to get into a relationship where I don't know what I'm trying to accomplish. It's a moving radar, and there's debt. I saw a lot of houses go into receivership. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're trying to accomplish something and they haven't told you the piece that maybe would have changed everything and how you would have approached it had you known that.
Right.
So for me, it's that honest conversation. The red flag is if I know things and they're not telling me, if I find it out on my own and they haven't told me, those are my red flags that I'm not actually in a sympathetic relationship.
Yes. It's great. Okay, Alex, thank you for your time. I know you got a lot to do today. We really appreciate you coming out here. And everybody, round of applause for Alex Irish. Thank you. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
It's lovely. Good we had some other friends too come by.
Say some hello.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to have Chris Karram come up here next. And maybe if we're, round of applause for Chris Karram, guys. Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Great
so much. Appreciate that. And stuff. Yes.
Freedom like this.
Alex, we appreciate you.
Again, some bread out of this. All right. So, for those of you that don't know Chris, you need water or anything, man? No, I'm good. Yeah, thank you. For those of you guys who don't know Chris Karram is a very similar to Alex Irish, deals with a lot of high net worth personnel and helps them with their finances, specifically in the life insurance vertical, helping them understand how they can use life insurance to not only better their family's future, but also how they can do preservation of wealth, evade some taxes and things that, I know what people look at.
We don't say evade very often.
Okay, yeah. So this will not be given to CRA, man. You're good. Evade. So, in addition to that, something else Chris has done that's been really impressive to me is he actually used that same book of business and the skill and actually opened up another vertical. We also brokers mortgages with SafeBridge Mortgage, SafeBridge Private Wealth. And he's done a really good job, and I've seen a lot of people try to venture off and do two things. And he's done a really good job simultaneously doing it together while keeping the same book of business. So I think for a lot of us here, we'll be able to get a lot of similar value on how to have these conversations with people and on that level of respect. So thanks for coming here today, Liz, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. First question I've got for you. Everybody wants to be able to go, and obviously the theme of today is leveling up in the luxury category. Everybody wants to be able to go out and land that first big client, and maybe some of them haven't. For you, was there a moment where you're like, I'm actually entering into a relationship with a higher net worth person? Was it a big leap at that time? Can you share anything on the background of that story?
Yeah, I think, obviously everybody being in the real estate space, I think one of the things that I forget growing up, 25 years ago, having done this, the biggest work is that the 6 inches between our ears. It's the belief that you actually deserve to be at that table. And I found for sure the shift happened probably 5 or 6 years ago, but just where I realized there's nothing really different from that high net worth family, from that maybe middle market family.
Right.
Their needs are often quite similar, just bigger zeros.
Yep.
And so it really came down to me getting to the place personally where I believed I could help them, I could serve them, I could add value to their life. And in that process, I deserve to be there just like anybody else. And when that happened and I showed up and I was consistent, and like you guys, you do the work, all of a sudden you're sitting at the table with people that you maybe didn't think was possible, but always was, regardless of age, regardless of stage of your career otherwise.
Very cool.
It's almost, do the work, the work will take care of you, right? So to speak. Now, one thing though, when you're sitting across from someone and let's just say, again, high net worth, they have a lot of options. They know a lot of people. They have a lot of people that we're telling that are also very smart people. What are you doing to differentiate yourself, to be the clear choice for them and to assist with them? And then maybe what are you doing once they make that decision that you're their guy? What are you doing to go that extra mile to solidify? I don't know if you have any processes around it. I know some things personally done with me that I was, still to this day talk about. So I'm just, would love to leave that question and have you answer that.
I think there's a lot of ways to answer that, obviously. And I think it's different for everybody, especially depending on the industry you're in and the type of clients you work with. But I think when you're sitting down with a high net worth client or family, often what they're looking for is they want you to show up. And I look around and admittedly, I'm very happy to see so many real estate agents putting themselves out as proper professionals just by showing up and putting on, professional outfit.
Right.
There are so many people out there that just won't do that. And by just dressing, just showing up, you're already setting yourself apart. And to a high net worth family, they may not need that forever throughout the course of your relationship, but they want to know that you take your role and your job in their life extremely seriously. And so the fact that you all are dressed the way you are, presented the way you are, I think you should be proud of, because immediately that sets you apart. And clearly, these guys, you see them online, you know them personally, that's part of their MO and that's part of a brand. And in that brand, now you get to become that person that when Alex shows up, they know who she is. It's partly because of how she's presented herself her whole career. So I would say that definitely matters. Dress up and show up it's an obvious thing, but it's so easy to do today because people are so casual. Just show up. So that'd be one thing. I think the second is definitely process systems. You do need to have something behind the scenes that helps make sure that you do the right thing consistently for the client, because the biggest mistake you can make showing up with a high net worth client or any client is telling them one thing and not doing it. And so managing expectations is absolutely essential, but so is making sure you have the process and systems you actually back that up. But I think another thing that, for me anyways, I think is important, I believe in the power of team. Whether it's, the brokerage you work with or the team that you have around you, wealthy people don't want to work with the solo independent person who's out there, acting like a cowboy, so to speak, telling them they can do everything, but they have no team, they have no staff, they have no process, they have no brand. And they're just constantly trying to focus. And this is a personal opinion because, as David said, I don't actually do mortgages. I have a firm that does over $1 billion in mortgages. And then we also have our private wealth office as well. So we work with high net worth families in terms of tax and insurance. And I just get to handpick the type of clients I work with in the insurance and wealth management space. That being said, I believe that there's way more power for our mortgage agents or our advisors when they get to say, I'm part of a brand that's been established for 20 years, a brand that actually cares about its clients, a brand that's won awards and all these little things. But the fact is, there are people behind our people that add credibility to the client. And so I really think that the real estate industry is interesting because it promotes individuality. Right. I think in order to get to the next level, there is significant value in finding a team. One of the biggest agents in at least this area, if not Ontario or Canada, just partnered with someone.
Yep.
If that doesn't say something, never mind these two
very
guys
well said
that come together, if that doesn't say something about the power of team and the power of a collective coming together for that client, I don't know what does. So I honestly believe that that's a big part of aligning yourself with the right people, and if nothing else, letting the client know you're not a solo mission fighter. You got people that are there for you.
So I heard you talk about team. I heard you talk about brand. I heard you talk about processes. What are the other things that for you, how do you look at establishing trust with someone when they might have a lot of options, right?
Anybody who's got money has options. Not just financial options, but everybody wants the business. And, it goes back to establishing trust. I think trust, you've all probably been to any of the sales training and other things that some of the best real estate agents in the country, and frankly, in North America accomplish. Questions are everything. And we do have a process of questions that we work through with our clients. And when you ask the right questions, and when you engage and listen and authentically capture what is really important to them, you've earned their trust, because so many people come in just trying to tell them their story instead of asking what the client's story is. And so for me, it's less about, we do have some great branding, we've got some great materials that we can use, we've got great presentations, at least I think they are. But the fact is, that's not going to win the client.
Yeah.
Whether they trust me or trust us is what wins them. And that only happens when you ask the right questions. And so part of that is also being able to know, hear, listen, and capture it enough so that when you repeat it, especially in my case, I send a lot of information back, as summary emails or as part of our presentation package. So now when I'm starting the conversation, I've captured what they told me. And that proves to them that I wasn't just there selling something, but I was there listening. And we're trying to figure out if there's a way we can help. And sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But I really believe all of it comes down to questions. The fancy materials and the really cool online platform, all of that adds credibility. But what they need to know is that you're in their corner, you're their person. And as soon as you earn that trust because you ask the right questions and they know you care, cheesy, right? What's the saying? They don't care until they know how much you care.
Yes. Yep.
It's true, but it actually is true, right? Like it's so often understood. So I honestly think that if you develop your 5 or 10 key questions that you could ask every client, that would clearly give you a talk track and a process that enables you to establish trust way faster than just periodically asking the right question.
I actually have a follow-up to that. So what you're saying is you have a set of questions that you use to show that you're really listening, building trust. Did you mention that you send an email later where you're referencing the questions just to show them that you're really listening? What does that process look like tactically?
Well, it doesn't have to be complicated. That's the thing. I think we overcomplicate business and certainly sales.
Right.
But, for me, I send an email after every meeting that just sort of summarizes our discussion, some of the key points they made, what are their top priorities, and then I kind of share some of what our next steps are. It's simple, and it does not have to be complicated. But just that alone establishes the client, you did hear me, and now we can move forward from a place of trust. And so it isn't overwhelming, and it doesn't need to be. But just being able to capture that, or even going one step further and saying, here's using AI on Zoom if you use Zoom. Using AI, taking that record, maybe highlighting a few key points, attaching it and saying, this is what we discussed, here's a recording. By the way, here are the main highlights that I told some market conversation. Right away, you've just said, I wasn't just in front of you trying to make $1. I was there actually listening to everything you said.
Very cool.
Yeah, so all that resonates super hard with us because we, and I think all of us too, when you're sitting down and you can speak with someone and have those key questions, and you just mentioned AI, like the resources are there to go figure out those couple of questions without having them ingrained. One thing you mentioned earlier about team, so you have a really good team. I've interacted with a lot of people on your team, and it's something that Jake and I have been, increasingly more trying to find the right players and getting them involved. I guess my 2 questions would be, what was the vision to capture the right team to actually get the right people involved? And then what was maybe a little bit more of the tactical positions that you were able to get in place to get yourself leverage and have a second business that you're not even, running to a certain degree and it's doing $1 billion a year? That's like a very impressive thing. So I think it's a testament to building the right people. So I would love to know any insight you have on that.
Well, I think values matter. Core values matter. I know you guys share similar values. We share a similar faith system and faith-based philosophy on life as well. And I think a lot of that, understanding who you are and who you're trying to be, being clear on what your own core values are, allows you to really identify who the right people are and how they're going to fit into that. And so, I was never looking for only the best. We were always looking for the right people with the right core values. And from there, we're also looking for people that see their business as a professional opportunity. Like real estate industry is not unlike the mortgage industry in a lot of ways. A lot of cowboys, you can make a lot of money in a short period of time. You can make a lot of money, on a single deal. And as a result, there's not as many regulations. I know you're frustrated with some of the recent regulations. I'm not going to deny that. But, you can go out and kind of do and say, you've all come across those agents who have said something to a client and it was arguably offensive to you, right? People do that all the time. And so we were always looking for people that saw this business as a professional. They saw this as part of their future. They didn't see this as just an opportunity to make a quick buck. People who say, well, I'm just looking for a little bit of flexibility in my schedule. I hate that. It's like, that's not how success works, And so if you're looking to just find a part-time job, we were never the place to call home. But at the same time, if you believed in the fact that you could add value to people, that mattered to us. And so, we definitely have had some success. We've had some turnover, very rarely on the advisor and agent side, but it's hard to find good support staff and admin. And at the same time, you find someone like Alex did, and they were at least 15 years. So I think a lot of it is just being really, really clear on what your core values are and what your goals and business plan looks like and what you're trying to accomplish. And when you're clear on those core values and you can line them off because it's just who you are, someone's going to get inspired by that. And admittedly, in that same meeting, someone's going to be put off, offended, scared. You might talk about growth as one of your biggest priorities. That could scare someone who's not willing to commit to growth, personally, professionally, financially, or otherwise. So as long as you know what you are and who you are, I think that's the key to finding people that align. Because if you're going to do this long term, you want to be surrounded by people that are great people, that have abundant mindset, that don't compete with each other, but rather compete with themselves, but are inspired by the greater good. And if you can find those people and you can win and you can succeed and you can make a boatload of money and you can take care of a lot of clients and then you can celebrate that, you guys have the gift of doing it together with your team. There's nothing better. Who wants to win alone? I'm not interested. That was never my goal. So surrounding yourself with the right people is everything.
One of the things that's really evident talking with you today and knowing you so well, and for those of you that don't know, Chris is actually someone that played a huge role in Dave and I coming together in our partnership, the way that we run our business together. So Chris was really influential on that. Something that is very obvious with you is you're always dressed incredibly sharp. You have a 3-piece on today.
Well, I'm coming to see you guys, so I don't fit the double-breasted the same way. I'm a little older now, I think. But, it's part of the brand.
So the reason I bring that up is that it feels like the level of your career that you're at with how much you're prioritizing leadership, identifying values that you share with people, it's obvious that the small things become the bigger things at this stage. Like, for example, once you're at the point where you're doing 80% of the stuff right, it's the top 20%, these little details, which is why you're walking around the room probably looking like who's showing up a certain way, who's not just being a cowboy, right? What are the things for you as someone outside of the real estate business in some ways where you're not in the agent business? What do you think defines a great agent, someone who's a luxury agent that you would place your trust in?
Great question. I think team matters.
Yep.
You want to be a luxury agent, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to succeed in any business, you can't do it by yourself. But I think from a purely real estate agent perspective, consistency is everything. Like, how many people do we know, and I don't want to call anyone out in the room because I don't know if that's the case, but who treat this like a part-time job. We're in and out, we show up at the office for a couple hours, we go home, and then we go for a swim or go to the gym or whatever. The people that show up consistently, when a client emails you at 9 and you can get a response at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not saying you need to work all hours either in the evening, but when they know you're available and you're at the office, you're working proper hours, for a high net worth family, that's everything. If they're waiting for hours to hear from you, or they feel like, frankly, all you're showing online or on social media is all the events you're at, the parties you're at, or the cottage you're at, there's value in them knowing that you live the lifestyle that they live on some level. But there's also a bit of a dangerous curve there, because it could go the other way where they start asking, are you actually working? Because now you've got my house, and a house is personal. A house, way different than an investment property. A house is something, especially like this, they built with the heart and soul. They want to know that they've got your full-time commitment. And there are so many agents who just don't do that. And so again, it comes down to, showing up and dressing up, but at the same time, when they need you, you're available, not without, the crazies who call you at midnight. You're allowed to have boundaries, don't misinterpret. But I think high-end luxury realtors need to be, and mostly all are. I don't think I know anyone who's succeeded at a high level, yourselves included, who everybody already knows are hustling, they're grinding, they're working, and they're doing the things that other people aren't doing. And so I think that probably more than anything from a consistency perspective is important. And I think accountability. I honestly believe that accountability is lost. It's so easy when something goes wrong, and Alex said it perfectly. She lets the client come on the journey as far as some of the challenges she's facing. How is she trying to process this? And that's accountability. She's admitting, hey, there's no easy solution here. But I think it's the same thing when things go wrong. Can you fess up and own up, whether it was you or your team? Can you own it? Because the moment you own it and then respond quickly and respond accordingly, you've earned more trust, arguably, than you would have had it not gone wrong. And so I think accountability to yourself, accountability to your client, and accountability to your team is absolutely essential in this space, no question.
Dave's got this next question, but first I want to say something about this. You mentioned that you can tell people at a high level are hustling and they're going after it all the time. We've got Christopher Invidiata in the room, which round of applause for Christopher Invidiata as well. And the reason I highlight you, Chris, is I was door knocking a house the other day and they said, oh, like 4 weeks ago, Christopher Invidiata was here knocking on our door. And I thought, is that not a testament to your point of like people that are just always hustling and getting after it? That's exactly what you look for in the best of the best, right? They're always getting after it. They're always showing up. They're not resting on their laurels. And just a comment. So it wasn't a question. I'm gonna let Dave have the next one, but that's very true.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man, because even, again, someone like Chris's caliber who's still just doing like you said, you get to 80% right now. It's really focusing on that 20%, get the thing airtight and still kind of keep doing the basics. Just a testament that, and that's why I had asked Alex, if you have to go back again, even though she said she partnered with Matt has an AI company. And I said, if you were to go back again, can you change anything? She said, no. That just shows the foundation is the foundation is the foundation.
Right.
And that was good for me as someone who's, always looking at different things like what can we do better? And it's not what can we do better, it's what can we do the same consistently of focus on that and do that better. Right?
Yep.
So my one question to you, man, and I don't know where we're having time, maybe this will be the last question, but when you get that client, and you've done it with me, and I know you've done it with Jake, and I would just love for everyone here to kind of recognize that when you do the job, that's fine. But what are you doing to not only do the job, but always take it that extra mile? You have great retention with your clients. You have great referrals. I've referred you so many people and excited to continually do so because I know that you're in the job that you do. So what are some tidbits that you can give to all of us agents here that just, maybe we can put in place into our business? Maybe I don't know if there's someone on the back end that's focusing on some of this stuff, but I can tell that you take that time to think about people and say, hey, what can I do to show them that extra level? And I can only imagine at scale, it becomes a little bit of a logistical nightmare. So I would love to see what you're doing to do that. And hopefully everyone can take away from that because it was really something special for me.
Thank you. Well, I think, in that case, again, it comes back to that personal touch. And, when you're maybe not as busy or you don't have as many clients, it's not hard when you're hearing them talk and when you're listening to understand things that matter, things they enjoy, so whether it is something as simple as tickets or whether it is, we like to send they call it closing gift, but something just to say, thank you. I thought of you specifically in this moment, and I wanted to just let you know I appreciate you. And that's something that you can do with or without any help. Yep. But I think after the fact, you definitely need to get to a point where you can identify really, really great people who can create that same experience. They need to be an extension. I've always hated the term executive assistant because it's implying that I'm above that person. But the reality is, if I'm not doing my job, then I'm not assisting them either. And they don't have a job. And so we are effectively assisting each other. And so I've accepted that I need to use it because it helps identify the role a little bit easier. But the reality is, I think that when you have a great person and when they understand that they are an extension of you, they're looking for ways often to try to say thank you or that we appreciate you or we're thinking of you. And, so much of that comes down to the personal touch. And when you're dealing in the high net worth space, you're not doing 100 deals a year in most cases. You're doing a few of those really great deals and opportunities, and those are the people you want to replicate, you want to spend time with. And frankly, if you're dealing with great people like these guys, I actually enjoy spending time with them. So, it's a definite win on both sides. But, I really think adding that personal touch, making sure that there's consistency again in terms of what those reviews look like. How do we make sure that you're up to date here and we're available to make sure that you understand what you've done? But then also, how do we engage throughout the course of the year and really just often say, I'm just thinking of you. Often it's just, I'm not calling you for anything. I encourage my mortgage agents, especially in the last couple of years that you guys probably experienced, a bit of a slowdown in the real estate market, I would say. And all I kept telling them was just call your client.
Right.
Don't ask him for anything because he's got nothing to give you. But just call him and say, I appreciate you. How are you doing? How are you surviving? Is there anything I can help with? Do you need an introduction to anybody? But that 30-second phone call could solidify that client for life. Some people did it, some people didn't. The people that did, no surprise, are the ones that are crushing it today. And I need to do more of that sometimes. I get to handpick, like I said, some of the clients I work with, and so it's a little easier to manage on my end. But man, just letting people know that you care can happen so easily. And even if you don't reach them, if all it was a voicemail or a text that said, I just thought about you today, want to make sure everything's all right, hope you're doing well. That alone puts you in a different stratosphere than most everybody else, because in the mortgage business and the insurance business as well, and in the real estate business, it's so highly transactional. The people that take the time to shift that away from saying, how do I get your business, to how do I add value to your business, to your life? And that goes back, I think, as well to opening up your network and really understanding. And we talk about AI, so I have to say this. I do think AI is a threat. I think it's a threat to everyone in this room, myself included. I also believe it's an opportunity to take advantage of how to use it in the most effective way. But I don't believe that in 3 years we're sitting here and real estate, insurance, mortgages, wealth, any of it's operating the same way. Because there is too much growth and too much advancement. The only way for us to stay relevant, and I truly at my core believe
this is good,
is to add value beyond what you do in the way you get paid. And that could come in the form of introducing them to clients. It could come in the form of introducing to other professionals. It could come in the form of just being able to be an ear sometimes. But adding value beyond real estate or mortgages or insurance or anything else happens when we're not getting paid. And when the client knows we're not getting paid, we're just there to serve. That is what's going to identify us as different. But I think 3 years from now, when technology is taking over all of those transactional real estate agents, if you've been the one who's built such deep relationships because you've surrounded them with your people or surrounded them with your network or surrounded them with people that would add value to their life that you didn't get paid on, AI is not the threat anymore. No one's the threat because you're the person they go to as the most trusted advisor. And you can be that person as a real estate agent, even if you've never done a real estate deal for them yet. And so I think we really got to get back to all of the professional speakers have said it from the beginning of time, add value, surround yourself with people, give before you get, all of that. I don't think it's ever been more important than it is now with the advancement of AI and everything else. If we're not adding value and all we're doing is calling for a deal, high net worth people especially will suss that out. But more importantly, you want to build that fence, have the right professionals in your pocket, have the right people that you can surround them with, even if it just means taking them to the game, but let them know you care, let them know you're adding value, even when you're not making money. And you'll at least build a great defense wall around what's coming down the pipe the next 3 years.
Chris, thank you so much. Round of applause.
Thank you, my guy.
Big word, right?
All right, guys. Now, here's what I'd love to do. Is there any chance we could get you to come up here and answer a couple questions? Put you on the spot, man. Come on up. Come on up.
We got him.
So, very excited to have Christopher Invidiata here. I believe, Chris, if I'm correct in saying 40 years now in the business? 40. Let's go, man. Lovely to have you here, brother. Lovely to have you here. We're going to steal a mic off of our other Chris. Good?
See ya.
So 40 years in the business. I was with Chris's son 2 days ago, I think, with Caleb, right? Yeah, showing the property and getting to meet Caleb for the first time. He's a pretty jacked guy, man. He's a jacked guy, right? And it's a privilege to have you here today. Thank you so much for popping by. Similarly to what we've shared kind of with different, there's very few names that come to mind. You are in a category that is kind of above most in terms of what you've been able to achieve with the luxury business. I think in a way you've been kind of credited with really creating a bit of the luxury category, which is pretty special. And I know, I've heard a little rumor that you got your start door knocking. Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit about when you first got started, what gave you the balls, frankly, to go and knock on these big, intimidating doors with gates and hard to get to.
And I asked the broker, I said, how's this business work? He says, well, you got to do door knocking. He said, pick 2 streets and knock on the doors. And so.
And the mic?
Yeah, we'll get you a mic here as well. See if I didn't break this one earlier when I dropped it, eh? Probably did. Yeah, I think I broke it. Grab you a mic here real quick, Chris.
Look how Spanish we that here, man.
You got the other mic there?
Oh, I think it's back.
Where do you know, girl?
The simple work is just turned off.
Oh, it is? Okay. I dropped it though too, so I very well could have broken it.
So you can value on this broker though?
No, just grab the other one.
Yeah, grab the other one. Can you run and grab it?
No.
We'll send it in for
Thank you.
consultation. The babies with some very serious people here to get though. Walter, that you're good now. I just have a feeling. They're going to follow by the way. It's in court to say anywhere. Yeah.
He's going to sell.
Oh yeah.
That's right. That's the hope, the prayer, and the plan. That's for sure.
Okay, that's better, huh? Hello?
Yeah, there we go.
Turn it up a little bit more and we'll be good to go. Try it out.
There we go, yeah. I came out of the fashion business before.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fashion. You look like you came into the fashion business, man. That's awesome.
In clothing, and then before that it was jewelry and leather.
Okay.
So the broker said, you got a door knock. I said, okay. So I picked 2 streets, and every door that I came to, the answer is no, you out. And you get sort of worn out until you get to the kind of last door. And they say, yeah, with a minor vibrations. And he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Wow.
And then it was hard to do. I didn't have a pen on me.
And you definitely didn't have a cell phone either, right? So you're just, here, you know what? Kristen, turn it down a little bit and then just keep it really close to your mouth will help. Sorry about that.
So I was thrilled. So I went back to the office, got the report to the
Wow.
And I met her husband, we a big truck driver. And he's looking at me like, don't get any funny ideas. You know? His wife was beautiful. And
Okay. Those kinds of funny ideas. Yeah.
I was bonding with him. And so I said, what are you looking for? He was lakefront. I said, oh, that's great. I knew nothing about the lakefront at all, 0. So I went back to my office, went 5 years back into data, created the mapping program, color coding it,
Wow.
yellow for sale, green was sold, orange expired. And I went back to him and I said, here's 5 years worth of history.
Wow.
So I realized knowledge was the king.
Right.
You can be nice, but if you don't do what you're doing, you take a lot of time to grow that
Wow.
depth of knowledge. So
This is pre using the internet whatsoever, right? You're like actually color coordinating a map of the city?
yeah,
Wow.
along the waterfront.
Wow.
So they said, let's go and take a look at what to buy. So there's a property on the water that is expiring. I called the agent who had it listed before. Where's that window? I said, can I show the property? She goes, who are you? Why don't you just call the seller clerk? I said, I didn't think that was proper. She goes, good for you. So she set up the appointment. We put the deal together, $810,000. Conditional
Okay.
selling the house.
Wow.
And sure enough, someone comes along, puts it off for another claim. So we have to firm up the letter. And Warren has said to me, I just bought my credit out of the truck meeting because I don't know if I can afford a blower. I said, then let it go, there'll be another one.
Wow. So you're saying that this first opportunity you had essentially kind of fell apart on you at the last minute because he bought his friend's company, right? And you told him it's okay, there'll be another one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So I went back to the office, needed the mutual lease. My manager took a strip letter, but she goes, you know what you just lost? I said, no, I don't think about money. I just think about the customer. And she goes, well, I suggest you start thinking about it.
Wow.
So I found another property on the waterfront. It was around $1 million. Yours, 2. And we divided into 3 lots.
Wow.
Sold 2. He ended up building his house. And I thought, I got to find a better company to go to. So I went to Remarks and wiped this.
There you go.
I was with kind of a trust that we did.
Amazing. So yeah, the idea that you went out and created opportunity, right? Rather than waiting for something to come up, you went and found a lot for $2 million, you divided it into 3, and then realized you need to change brokerages after the bad advice you got. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
If you're in it for the money, it's a bad gig. Especially when there's big deals on the table. At a Chinese client, she put it offering a big plaza. And there's conditional. And she called me up and she goes, the brides are broken out in Beijing.
Wow.
So what do you think we should do? I said, let it go. Just do mutual release and let it go. Then I flew to China. She treated me like a child.
Wow.
As a friend. So you build relationships. It's the most important thing. That's why we're here.
Yes.
To build relationships.
Yeah, that's right. It's an honor to have you here. It's awesome.
Wow. That is very, I'm hearing a lot of the same things. We're going to always leave. I know Alex said integrity. Christy said integrity with culture. You're saying absolutely, that's what I would do. Leave it. Where a lot of other people, when they are fishing for the money, they're going to give unintegral advice and either maybe get that one paycheck, but lose their reputation along the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Or the client gets hurt.
Or the client. See, that's the next level of care because they genuinely care about them. So that's super admirable. Now, one thing we didn't get in chat about with Alex, which I would love your take on, again, 40 years in the industry, I think negotiation's your middle name. And I think in our industry, we have 2 sides of negotiation where I'd rather think some people think there's two sides. Side A is with an unreasonable seller, which Alex gave her 2 cents on, which is just honestly sharing through it, and then obviously negotiating with the market. But when we're dealing with luxury properties, we're not talking about $5,000 or $10,000. We're talking about $500,000 swings either way.
Sure.
So what do those conversations look like with the sellers to get them on board? And what is more importantly I'm trying to do to negotiate on their behalf when you have a pretty crappy offer, for lack of better terms? And what's the mindset around that?
Well, the reality is the deal that's going to come together is going to be a winner at the end, no matter what. Even if it's in a bad market, because the win-win is going to be created by you helping them see the reality that we're all facing, especially in this environment. We just did a big deal for 9.5, it was listed for 10.5. That's not a big difference, but still it's $1 million off the price. And if you know, again, it's your depth of knowledge around what you're about to do that gives you the credibility. And so if you're really strong with your data, and I say you push the data, if you analyze it. So it's just numbers. If you read it out, which is, and you go back to your history, and you be very strong with your opinion when you have that backdoor.
Yeah.
So it neutralizes it.
It's interesting that you say that, because even Alex, when she said, she goes, Michael, one thing every day, right? Learn one thing every day. And then Chris said, if you're not knowledgeable, like having to speak to somebody, and now you're talking about the data points. I'm hearing a lot of the very similar things of actually being a consummate professional, right? Anything else at all that you'd add on that? Even actually, one other, sorry to break you off there. What if you're sitting down with someone who doesn't really do a lot of data, and that's not really their MO? How do you break it down for them, let them know this is a really important piece that we need to focus on?
No, my dad was a medical doctor. And he made a good living, but a specialist will make 10 times as pound.
Really?
And so if you specialize in one sector, and you really know the data, and you get known for that, because your database is so thorough, and that reputation spills over you. I mean, it was Nick Hunt.
Wait.
We kept those development programs consistently in cultivate.
Oh. Sure.
Yeah, I think that something that's obviously clear as well for you is that you have to have a team around you. When you're thinking about how you identify someone that's going to make a great agent that you can trust with very high-end clients, because I know you've got a kind of a group of people around you that I've consistently seen, and not just your kids, right? You've got different people. How do you identify what makes someone a great agent that you want to partner with as well?
Well, it's funny. When I'm interviewing a new agent, I'm asking myself, would I let them deal with my best client?
Wow.
Subliminally.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting a feedback that it's not going to work, then right away it's insolvent. And also, why you're in the business. Or if it's for the money, it's a short conversation.
Right.
It has to be peer based.
Yeah.
And if I see in that individual the care from them, then I would be inclined to take them to the next step.
Yeah. So in case that was cutting out a little bit, what you're sharing is if you can't trust that person with your best client, then you have to kind of pause right away and be like, I don't know if this is the right person, because you want to be able to trust them with your best client.
Well, like when you're building a team, you can't be everywhere.
Right.
So if my goal is to make you better than me, then I'm on the right trajectory.
Right.
So I'm going to try to teach you everything that I know to make you better than me.
Yeah. This is the world's worst PA setup, folks. That's you can just turn it off for right now. I think I just lost hearing in my left ear a little bit. Woo!
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that clearly there's a theme, right? Like Alex talked about it, Chris, you talked about it as well. You're sharing it now. It's like you can't be everywhere. You have to have the right people around you. it's unfortunate that in our industry, it is a little bit too enabling to be a cowboy. Like you use that phrase a lot. I think it's an accurate phrase. And it'll get you, even if you're super, super talented, like early on, even meeting you, Dave, it's like you can actually just be a really successful cowboy in the business, right? But then you reach a point where it's like, if you really do want to have an impact to be able to serve your clients better, not just for yourself, but actually to be able to serve your clients at a higher level, you want to know that you have people around you that can give you that sensibility of omnipresence, right? So you can actually be more than one place.
My first 10 years, it was me building Christopher Invidiata.
Right.
And I couldn't be in any more meetings at all. It's just the day was done. So I said, I have to change from a me to a we. And so I became a team and let Christopher go and just become the Invidiata team. So there's a place for you, not just Christopher.
Right.
A place for you within the Invidiata brand.
Right.
Yeah. So we were doing 20 million a year, went to 200 million.
Wow.
When you become a team, you
10x. Yeah.
You leverage and you have more fun.
Right.
It's a lonely business if you're doing this by yourself.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And for you, I'd imagine also, I love that you shared early days that $800,000 waterfront property. It's appreciated quite a bit. There's been quite a change in the time you've been, today that's a $10 million minimum probably, right? To be where you're talking about on the water.
It's about 12.
12, there you go.
You have the data to support it?
It's awesome. What's that?
This is cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Round of applause. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, brother. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Feel free to hang out, schmooze a little bit, connect with everybody. Anybody have any questions about this property while we're right here, getting ready to kind of just open it up to everybody hanging out? If you do, come find me. Let me know. Happy to chat, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Okay. Pizza jar.
Hey, my guy. Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys coming out and taking the time.